Notre-Dame-de-Grâce MNA Désirée McGraw is urging the Sisters of the Congregation de Notre-Dame to ensure Villa Maria College's future. Tensions rising over the historic West End property. McGraw is an alumni of Villa Maria and warned on social media that closing the school would be a major loss for Montreal's educational system and cultural heritage. College serves 1,800 students. Let's talk a little bit more about this. Désirée McGraw, the M&A for NDG, joins us now on the line. Madame McGraw, Désirée, welcome back to the program.
Always great to be with you, Elias. Good morning
to
listen, you and your listeners.
And, I have friends. They send their children to Villa Maria, okay? So I understand this is, in the NDG community, it's a big deal. And even outside of the NDG community, a lot of people send their children to Villa Maria. But I want to know why this is such an important deal for you to intervene. It's a private school, land that's not government land. So why is this so important for you right now?
Sure, Elias. I've actually heard from many constituents over the last year and a half when it was first announced that the Congregation would be selling the land, but since La Presse story came out on Friday, indicating that they would be selling it only after Villa Maria's lease is up in 2030, is essentially condemning it to a death sentence. And I've heard from far more alumni, parents, students, former teachers. So it's a big issue in the riding. And beyond the riding, because as you say, it serves 1,800 students from all over the greater Montreal area. It is not fully private. The school itself is subsidized, so it receives public subsidies. So there is a public interest, and I'm arguing for the public interest that the school, which is 171 now, 70 years old, serves an important purpose in making education accessible, private education accessible to the middle class. It is one of the most accessible private schools in Quebec, and one of the largest as well.
What's at the crux of this? Why, if they've had a relationship for a long time, to the best of your knowledge, what is behind this?
I'm not going to speculate. I know that there has been a shift. Obviously, historically, Villa Maria, certainly when I was a student, there was all girls. It was Catholic. My teachers were nuns. And it has evolved with modern times, as it should, to be co-ed, fully secular, still semi-private, but it has evolved with the times. I can't imagine it's that evolution that the congregation's turned its back on, because the Congregation gave Marianopolis, which is located on the very same property, a special preferential rate of $8 million on the very same land. It's co-ed, it's semi-private. So it's hard to fathom why the Congregation that founded the school over 170 years ago is now setting that same school up for failure.
Isn't it the congregation's right to do what they please with their land?
Well, if you want to be true to your mission, your educational vocation, the values that the Congregation instilled in me and thousands of other Quebecers, I don't think it's consistent with their values and their mission. And of course, I'm here, Elias, to argue for the public and the community interest. So yes, the Congregation is private, but they have an educational vocation, and these actions and the failure to come to the table and to freeze Villa Maria out, I believe, is completely at odds with their own mission. So I will continue to advocate for the community and the public interest, the students, the parents. If there was I'll liken it to this. If there was a subsidiary of a multinational, which is essentially what the Congregation Notre-Dame is, and by the way, their board is largely people who are not from here, they're international. Nothing wrong with that, but perhaps they don't fully understand the importance of Villa Maria to our community, to our city, and to our province. If a multinational was shutting down its subsidiary, an NDG, with 2,000 jobs, right, 1,800 students, 200 employees, 2,000 jobs in NDG, you better bet we'd be up in arms. This is no different, and arguably, it's at least as important because we're talking about educating future generations.
So I just want to talk a little bit about the land and why they would want to sell. And I know you want to avoid speculation, but I'm thinking if they're able, after the Villa Maria's lease is done, now they have this land, it's very sought after. I don't know if there's any idea about what they'd want to do after 2030? And is it to sell to developers or to bring in another institution? Do you have any idea as to what listen, you brought it up that they're, multinational, basically, a lot of people that are not here. So what do you think the ulterior motive is with that land if Villa Maria goes?
Look, I want to be very clear. The Congregation is well within its rights to sell the land. That's not the issue. The issue is how they're going about it. Before, when they announced in June of 2023 that they were going to sell it, there was going to be an open bid, there could have been an opportunity for Villa, as part of perhaps with other partners, to purchase the land and ensure its future. What they've done now, the shift that's been announced recently, is that they're not going to sell the land until 2030 or after 2030. This condemns Villa Maria to a not-so-slow death. It's a death sentence. So that's the difference. It's not about selling the land. It's how they've chosen to go about it because, as you know, Elias, 5 years, next year is the last year in which students would have the guarantee that they'd be graduating by 2030. So there's a domino effect, and it's already having a hit on application rates to Villa Maria.
Could you see a future, where the land is sold, developer buys it, they build a lot of housing right next to Villa Maria Metro, by the way, and you know how much we need housing. And I understand it, an institution would close, but could you see a future where that land serves a good use for the community?
What I'm calling for is for all partners to come to the table. The congregation, the school, the city that has zoning and allocating the division of that land to preserve green space. Yes, to have other institutions that serve the public interest. Absolutely. It's not, but right now to buy the land the way it's set up, it'd be very expensive for any developer. And we don't want to see what happened to the old Marianopolis, which became a bunch of luxury condos downtown. Montreal NDG doesn't need more luxury condos. We have families who can't stay, who can't access NDG because it's too expensive. Gotcha. So yes, there's a lot that can be done with the land. My interest is the community interest that's served, including green space, accessible space for the public, but also that the school, Villa Maria, is part of the solution and that ensures the continuity of Villa Maria. And right now, with this decision by the Congregation, it essentially condemns Villa Maria to it's a death sentence.
We're with
so that's what we got to get around the table and win-win solutions, Elias, and not be talking. That's not okay. It's not responsible.
We're with Désirée McGraw, the Liberal MNA representing NDG. Désirée, while I have you with us here, there was a by-election on Monday in Terrebonne. Your party, the Liberal Party, not faring well, just 8% of the vote. It's not lost on me that, the PQ and the CAQ combined, they got over 80% of the vote. I know you don't have a leader right now. I know you're in a leadership race, but why do you think your party continues to fare poorly outside of the 514?
Well, I think you've identified it. We don't have a permanent leader right now. We're in a leadership race. I believe that Quebecers will understand that having a strong leader with a Quebec Liberal Party that believes in Quebec succeeding and leading in Canada is critically important, more now than ever with what's happening in terms of geopolitics, the U.S. So I think once we have a leader in place, and I'm very excited about the race and very engaged, I think that people will start to pay attention and recognize that, again, the Quebec Liberal Party is exactly the kind of leadership that this province needs, particularly in these uncertain times. So I think things are going to change after June 14th of this year with a new leader in place.
And you still have a lot of runway till the next provincial election. Okay, Désirée, got to leave it there. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Désirée McGraw is the MNA for Notre-Dame-de-Grâce.